to Mike Brady as well. Love the Paisley. So interesting. Last night I was flipping around and the Brady Bunch was on, and I had a kick of nostalgia, so I thought I'd watch this episode of the Brady Bunch. And in this episode, Marcia, and this was I think it was in the first season, Marcia was so enamored with, I guess, her father, her new dad, and she noticed an opportunity to write an essay for the best dad ever. And what happened was, in order to, she had misbehaved at some area, and Mike had to discipline her. And he didn't want to, and they want to have, this great relationship, and he's a relatively new dad, but it was very important that he hold his line, and whatever she did, it was punishable by some extra chores, and he was very lenient. Oh, I remember, she was writing this letter in his den late at night, in his office or what have you, and Jan and Cindy were looking for her, and there was a little bit of a hubbub of where is she. Mike came home late and found them in his office, and he was like, what are you doing here, and had his thing. And it's very interesting, again, when we think back to our earlier days, some of the ways we lived, and the rooms were, that's dad's room, that's his office, that's his den, that's, what have you, the man cave. So they had a conversation, and Mike was very stern, but what was interesting is Marcia also knew that she shouldn't have done that. So she volunteered to essentially accept some discipline, some correction, some consequence. And it was to do some chores, what have you. Well, it turned out that she was running late with writing this letter, so she actually engaged and enrolled her brothers and sisters to do her chores. That were the consequence. So when they came home, when Mike came home, saw the chores being done by everyone else, not Marcia, he's like, what the heck's going on? Then, so some more conversation and consequence ensued. But it's interesting, she never said, I'm doing this because I'm writing this letter for you. It never said a word. Then she noticed the deadline, so she snuck out of the house to drop it off in the mailbox or whatever it was. And during that time, Mike and Mom, Florence Henderson, I forget Mom's name at the moment, it's escaping me. But anyway, they decide that they're going to go skiing. They go upstairs to kind of check on everybody and let them know, hey, we're going to do this ski trip. And Marcia's not in her bed. She comes in, and they punish her by saying, we're going skiing and you can't go because you stayed out, you escaped, or you went out and you went out your window, you could have gotten hurt, yada, yada, yada. And your consequence is you're not coming skiing with the rest of the family. And in that time, she still didn't say why she was doing all of that. And then it went into the old consternation of, we want to take her, we don't, blah, blah, we got to hold this bottom line, etc. And the moral, and it just makes me think and miss old school television with a message. There was discipline, there was integrity, there was consequence, there were natural consequences, and you weren't made wrong for that. There was an understanding of it. And I think the power of that, and what's missing today oftentimes, is the exemplar of discipline, of integrity. That in today's day and age, probably what may have happened, again, I'm just mind reading here, but in today's day and age, this happened in real life, and even back then, but there would be less models. Someone would say, well, I'm only doing it because I was writing this essay because say that you're the best dad, but now you're not, and go into a whole conversation around that. But she kept her word. She didn't say anything as to what it was. And then ultimately, Mike won, her essay won, and he was Father of the Year. And in that sense, he really was. Because he also was willing to get uncomfortable. He was willing to execute discipline, be integral with his word. If he said, hey, this is the punishment, this is the consequence, he didn't change it because he felt bad because Marcia, and was afraid that he was going to lose some rapport with Marcia. So where in our lives are we potentially creating longer term challenges by not being willing to go through the short term pain, the short term discipline, honoring our word? Food for thought. So that being said, I love you for who you are and who you aren't. If this story was helpful, please share it. Go back and start watching some of those old shows and movies with morals, and let's notice, how can we recreate opportunities to share those stories from our lives? What are some opportunities that you've had that you've implemented integrity, discipline, moving forward, albeit maybe a little challenging at first, knowing that long term there would be benefit? And again, if you want to learn more about speaking, taking your message out there, you have a message, share it, reach out to me. We got yourockspeaking.com. My passion is to support you in getting your story out there to help transform the world. So I love you for who you are and who you aren't. See you soon.